Sandra, thank you so much for jumping on a call with me today. It's really great to have you on.
Yeah, having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, no, it's great. Awesome. So firstly, I guess to like kick things off, introduce yourself and give us a bit of an elevator pitch for the Yzer app.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sanjna. I'm currently living in Europe, originally from India. I actually have a background in marketing, media, and communication, and then got into the Bitcoin space about a few years ago. Met the co-founders of Yzer, and we just launched publicly 2 months ago. So we've been working on the project for almost a year now. Um, it's the five of us working on this together. So there's two developers based in Switzerland.
Yep.
One of our co-founders is in London, and then we've got two in Belgium and between the US and Belgium. So Yzer is actually, yeah, it's our baby. It's a gamified Bitcoin education app.
Yeah.
Um, but we see it more as a financial literacy app as well. So it's education on Bitcoin, but it's also bite-sized education on what is money, the history of money, where did it come from, investing in general, looking at a lot of macro issues globally as well. So we have over 400 classes on the free layer in Yzer, and we basically teach in bite-sized classes. So we want users to complete one class in 2 to 3 minutes because we're really trying to cater to the generation today and the way people learn today. And we truly believe that, the attention span is just getting shorter and shorter. And there's a big difference in the way people used to learn today versus 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or even 5 years ago for that matter. Um, but yeah, so we try to make it fun because I think people today really like the social aspect of learning as well, since we live in such a social world, even though it's just online. But users can actually add friends on our app. They can compete with each other through a weekly and monthly leaderboard. We've gamified it, so you actually kind of you get hearts and you lose hearts when you get a question wrong or get a few questions wrong, and you actually get locked out of the app. So we've tried to mix this whole gamification and education part to make it fun, to make the user stickiness high, to make users want to actually come back for this reason. So it's working pretty well. It's nice.
Yeah, no, spot on. I definitely agree with you. I can't believe it's only 2 months, 2 months old. I must have.
Yeah, yeah, we publicly launched 2 months ago, but we've been in the beta since December. So maybe you've been a user before. I'm not
No,
sure.
it might have been, it probably was a couple of months ago because I remember seeing it all over Twitter. And I guess when I first saw it, I was like, that's a really cool idea, but it doesn't apply to me. I know everything I need to know about Bitcoin. That was kind of like my mindset. And then I saw it a few
Yeah.
more times and I was like, I have to download this and check this out. So I did. And it was great. It was incredible. It was really fun, really quick. You're right about the attention span. I feel like mine's the worst, and I felt
Yeah.
engaged as well. And then it's like when your attention might be fading, you then get like rewarded with sats, which is like that motivational boost you need to like continue on. So I had a really fun time playing with it. Yeah, no, it was great. What inspired the creation of the Wise app? Tell us, how did that kind of come about?
Yeah, sure. So it actually really comes from a bigger vision and a passion project, right? I think for the five of us, for five people to come together and have like this common goal is not easy. But I think when we just met, it clicked that okay, we're so passionate about Bitcoin. We love it. We love the whole technology behind it. It just makes so much sense. But how do we spread it to the rest of the world? And I think we really saw this gap in the market for education on Bitcoin. Like, yes, of course, there's articles online, there's long videos, you can do your research, you can find what you want. Everything's there on the internet, but it's not, again, it's not catered to a way that people want to learn today. So we thought, okay, why don't we create this app, make it fun? Bite-sized learning, that's something that doesn't really exist in Bitcoin education as well. Um, Again, the whole gamification and social part, that's lacking. I mean, there are people doing it in the space now, but I think the thing that really sets us apart is the content, right? So we really, really try to simplify complex concepts into simple terms. So today, if there's a newbie going, like wanting to learn about Bitcoin and going online, they get lost. It's not a very easy thing to just get yourself into. So we wanted to make it in such a way that even if your first language is in English, you'll be able to understand all our content, but also different users and target groups, right? We're not necessarily targeting just developers or people who are in the tech field. We're really trying to orange pill each and every single person around the world. So I think for that, we saw this gap in the market, and the five of us were just so passionate about Bitcoin that it just clicked and it just made sense. So we're like, okay, this could be huge. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, and it was obviously smart to kind of seize that opportunity because I think you're right about the gap in the market, and it fills it really, really well, which is nice. Just for people who might not be aware or have used the Yzer app, can you quickly explain the main features and everything within the app and how they kind of contribute to learning more about Bitcoin?
Yeah, of course. So you can install the Yzer app on Android and iOS. It's available worldwide. It's a free app. So the minute you install it, all you have to do is just create an account. We just need your username, email address, password, and you'll see a bunch of onboarding screens that basically explain what the app is all about, right? So it explains the whole gamification process as well, how you collect the rewards, how you collect the sats, how you can withdraw those sats from a wallet, just how to go through the entire app. And then once you've passed those onboarding screens, it just takes a couple of minutes to go through. You have about 8 modules to choose from for now. We have 8 modules on the app. So we go into the Bitcoin basics, we go into Austrian economics, we go into technical analysis, everything financial literacy related. There's a lot more content coming, but this is what we have right now. And once you select a module, we always recommend for newbies or people who've just never heard about Bitcoin to first just read that module or the class on why Bitcoin, right? Before diving straight into the technical part of it, like going into the specifics. We just do 2 or 3 classes on why Bitcoin is actually so relevant and so important today. So that's kind of a nice teaser to get people hooked on. And I think this works as a great orange pilling method as well, because I know a lot of people when they're new, they don't want to just hear about the technicals. They don't care about what's in a block or what is made up of a block, right? They just want to know, okay, what is this hype around Bitcoin right now? So that's what we explain. Then users are free to choose whatever module they want to go through. Once you select a module, the module is broken down into chapters, blocks, and classes. So we're really providing a structured curriculum here because we don't want people to just jump from class to class. That's what you see on the internet, and that's why people get confused. Like, how are they supposed to know what to learn first, what to learn next, and how to link the information together? So we provide this really well-structured curriculum. We cover the A to Z. So people can start off with the first chapter, first class. They complete that class, they can take a quiz. The quiz is made up of 7 questions. If you get 5 out of 7 correct, you can pass and actually get rewarded. So there's a loot box that you get at the end of the class, which is kind of randomized, but you collect sats through this loot box. And when you complete that class and that quiz, you move on to the next class. So you just follow this rhythm, and then you go through all the classes in that one module. And yeah, and then we've got this whole other section that's the social, the bytes. We can dive into that as well, but that's kind of the basic layer of what we offer. There's so much down the roadmap that we still want to do. So classes are always incoming. We're always creating those. We'll be working on personalization and just seeing, if users prefer to learn certain classes first and skip certain classes. So we'll be doing all of that, but this is what we have in the basic free layer of 400 classes right now.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And it's something that I definitely realized pretty quick when I was playing around on the app is that the courses and the information are structured really well, like how they kind of flow into each other and it makes sense, kind of the order that they're in. In the background with the Yzer team, what is the process for creating and structuring and these courses in each category and making sure that the process is simplified for
Mm.
beginners? Bitcoin?
Yeah. So we create everything in-house. We're a pretty lean team. We've got the three of us working on the content and the product. So for the more traditional modules, especially economics, investing, we've actually partnered up with university professors to kind of get their advice and create this curriculum for us, right? It's just something we can follow and then kind of create our classes after that. A lot of work, I mean, we've been working on this for, like I said, almost a year. So a lot of work goes into what fonts work, what people like reading, how many images go into a class, how simple the English should be for new people to really get into it. So a lot of research and time has gone into that part of it. And the traditional modules, we've partnered up with professionals to help us create that curriculum. Once we get the curriculum, we create that into like a raw data. We create that into a class, and then we put all the visual aspects into it. Now, Bitcoin's a little tricky because no, well, it's not a big thing in schools and universities yet, right? Like, who's really teaching this? So that was something that we had to just do a lot of trial and error and experiment and see. Um, I mean, the information is there, but how people like to learn about it. So when we first started creating the first few classes, we actually had a community already. So we got the beta testers on board. We found people who were interested in just contributing and helping us. So we have a lot of feedback from users. We've done a lot of research, done a lot of surveys, and just found that the way the classes are created now, that's really what works best. It's just the readability. It's the way we put in the illustrations. It's a lot of work gone into it, and now we've reached a stage where okay, we have this template. We know that this works, and the three of us have a similar style, but still different in how we create the classes. So it works. Now I think it's just like an easy flow. We can push about 6 classes a day. So it's pretty nice. And I think with Bitcoin, the knowledge and the information is just never ending. There's a lot to create. Um so yeah, that's how we do it. Completely in-house.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're definitely always going to have content to for new sections and stuff like that. Obviously, we're
Yeah.
still in kind of like the infancy stage of Bitcoin, so definitely won't have any problems there. And the really awesome thing about Yzer is that it is completely free for people to use, which is awesome. And then on top of that is that you can also earn sats back on just learning Bitcoin for free, which is awesome. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, and I know people love that because that's what I see on Twitter all the time. Is I see people posting up screenshots of their Lightning wallet receiving, however many sats that they've earned. Can you kind of elaborate on the Wise's reward system, how it works, and also why you guys decided that that was such an important aspect of the app?
Yeah, for sure. So maybe why it was so important. Well, we felt that instant gratification is really critical. I think when users know they can earn something out of the app, they're getting rewarded. It's like a dopamine effect, right? You're like, okay, this is super cool. I'm learning, but I'm getting something out of it. Plus it's free. It goes with our whole mission that education should be free, right? It's just a human right. So you come onto this app for free and you're actually earning sats. We're not trying to get people rich off this app. It's not like you come on and you earn 1 Bitcoin and you're making so much money, but it's really that instant gratification. And I think that's kind of what it makes people go. It's yes, there's this whole like gamification part where you can compete with other users, but even though it's such a little amount of sats, it's if you build it up, like we have this referral system as well. If you build it up and you're getting like 10 people onto the app, you can earn some good money. Like it's not like hundreds of dollars, but if you're combining passion with reward, I think people are super incentivized to do it. um it's just this effect that people have, and I think it's been working on our app. We've been seeing it, and I think I mean other apps do it. It's not like we're the first one doing this, but it's really nice. It's a nice way to get people on for sure. And it's such a little amount that it doesn't really it's not a big cost for us as a company as well. But yeah, the way the reward system works is that so like I said, if you get 5 out of 7 correct on the quiz, you are randomly awarded with a loot box. So the loot box rewards anywhere between, I think, 15 to 30 sats. And once you collect these sats, I think you have to reach level 2. Once you reach level 2, you're able to withdraw these sats out of your wallet. So again, we're not just trying to get people rich. Like, we want people to stay on the app. We want them to learn enough, get to that level, really understand what Bitcoin's about, and then they'll be able to withdraw those sats. It's super easy because we do a lot of marketing. We recommend a lot of wallets that we have personally used, ones that are user friendly. So for people who have never made any transactions in Bitcoin, or who are using this for the first time, we're always there and we always explain it, and it's very simple and very easy to do. Um, the reward system is also there for referrals. So every time a user gets a friend or a family member or whoever they know onto the app, they get 50 sats, and the person referred also gets 50 sats. And we also launched like this ambassador program where users are spreading and orange pilling the world, orange pilling more of the world, and through that they're also able to earn more sats. So we're always releasing these new programs and these new ways of people to earn sats, and it's great. I think people are just so passionate that, like I said, it's a combination of passion and rewards that gets that like exponential effect and gets them to get more people onto the app.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I remember when I was playing around the app, I think I spent a good 2 or 3 days playing with it, and I think I made 3 or 4 stages in the modules, and I think I'd earned like just over 700 sats, which, like you said before, it's not life-changing amount of sats, but it was still really satisfying earning those while playing, but then also like redeeming them was equally as satisfying and also super simple. There are a lot of apps and different programs that will have like a minimum, like 10,000 sats minimum. So then you're kind of forced to play it for ages. But it was really good, and it was super simple to withdraw. So even though 700 sats was like a really cool thing, even for me, which was awesome. And I'm sure it wasn't easy to implement like such a simple system. For the user, it looks really simple, but I know that
Yeah.
to get it to that, there was
No,
a
it's
lot of
our developers are great. They're blockchain, they're Lightning developers, and they've been doing this for a while, so they really know what they're doing. But yeah, like you said, it's like even doing the leaderboard, right? Just seeing your name first on the leaderboard or in the top 5 or in the top 10 and earning sats from that. It's nice because we also have a Telegram community, and users are communicating so much over there. We share the leaderboard there. So there's always like this communication, and I think it's actually bringing people closer, and Bitcoiners always want to meet more Bitcoiners around the world. So this reward system just really just heightens that effect and gets more people into it for sure.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome to see. And what would you say has been the biggest challenges? I know you've only been public for the last 2 months, but in that 2 months, what would you say have been the biggest challenges so far with the app?
Yeah, so I think the challenges are, well, we are bootstrapped right now, so it's kind of just the time and money management, right? It's like really prioritizing what matters, because we were in the building stage. We had like 400 classes ready. Then we were like, okay, now let's focus on the marketing. Now we're getting a lot of users in, but it's like, okay, now people are completing the app, so now we need to release more classes. So I think it's always that um, priority of what you need to do right now until we've reached that stage where we're raising funds, or we just released like our revenue model. So until that revenue starts coming in, so I think the challenge is really just being that startup founder and balancing your time and doing everything in the company, but at the same time, kind of knowing what you need to do first and what's critical. I mean, we're a lean team. We're like I said, it's just the 5 of us. So there's always something. There's a bug in the app, or there's a spelling mistake in the class. Like it's these small things, and I think we have such a supportive community, and they're great, and they're always constantly helping us with all of this stuff. But as we grow and we're growing quite nicely and organically, I think it becomes a bit of a challenge to just reach that perfectionism. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, that would be our perfect our biggest challenge, I'd say.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Because I saw you also recently released the Byte section.
Yeah.
That's the latest kind of development in the app, would you say?
Yeah, so that's our latest development. I think that's also just like 3 weeks old now. We just released that.
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of the subscription feature of our app, right? I mean, we'd love to keep education completely free, but at the end of it, we have costs, we have development. So it's kind of a way for users to support us and support our mission and pledge. And we have a lot of great users and a great community who wants to do that for us. So through this Byte section, we offer there's 4 or 5 things that we mainly offer. So the first part is the coolest part, I think, is the live Bitcoin classes. So if you pledge and if you subscribe to this Byte, you get access to weekly classes with the founders. We're eventually getting guest speakers on as well. And we cover certain topics in those classes, and you can ask questions about the app, or you can ask questions about Bitcoin, or just what's going on in the news right now, just the macro issues and just everything globally. So we kind of keep that as an open discussion as well. And people love that because I think they can really, we've done, I think, 3 now. We're doing our 3rd one this week. And people have actually become ambassadors for this call. So they're taking over, they're talking to the community on behalf of us. And we've really got like a great, I think 20, 30 people who just want to be like the Yzer ambassadors. So this call is great because people can talk about whatever they want. They could connect with other community members, and they can do this whole Q&A at the end as well. We also offer Byte classes. So these are actually once a week we release a class that's more related to the news or a narrative that we want to speak about, right? So this week it's about WorldCoin. We talk about human rights and Bitcoin. We've spoken about XRP. We've spoken about just things that are happening in the news today, and that's related to either Bitcoin or finance in general. And people love discussing this. I think it's a little more advanced than what we offer in the base layer. So I think once people start completing classes and reach a certain level, they want to subscribe to the Bytes. We also offer unlimited hearts, so people can't get locked out of the app anymore. Because in the base layer there's 2 hearts. So if you get these questions wrong in the quiz, then you get locked out of the app, right, for 24 hours. And then through this, you can just stay on the app and keep learning. Eventually, we have a lot of plans down the roadmap as well to offer certification. We'll have more languages available as well. And we also offer a 2-week trial, which is great because people can actually see if it makes sense for them and if they're getting value out of the app, and they can decide to either pay monthly or pay for the yearly fee, which is at a discounted rate anyway. So it's a great way to just do the 2-week free trial and just see if it makes sense for you and then continue with that. So yeah, that is our main focus right now. We're kind of just growing that and working on some classes and Bytes for that section.
Yeah, that's awesome. And having the free aspect as well as like the optional premium, I think
Mhm.
works well because I'm sure there are people in the community that want to pledge that and support while also getting those premium features. I have seen on Twitter that there's been like some comparisons for people in the community of Yzer and Duolingo,
Yeah.
and kind of like sharing some comparisons there. What do you think about this comparison? Would you say it was originally built around that, or it just kind of has like naturally become that?
I mean, I think Duolingo is a great model. We've all used it before. I've personally learned languages through that, and it's such a nice way of learning through an app. So we did use features from that for sure. It's not that it just coincidentally happened that okay, this is so like Duolingo. Um, the gamification part, the hearts part, just learning very simply and making it like a fun UI UX. All of that is stuff that we took into consideration. And Duolingo is what, more than 10, 15, 10 years old, and their numbers are great. The way they're doing is great. Their founder is great. Their whole business model. So you are going to follow something that's working, right? We did take it as a base and try to build on top of that. And of course, that's completely language based, and we're completely financial literacy. So there's no kind of clash or competition in that area. Um, but calling us like the Duolingo for Bitcoin and financial literacy is nice. We like that. Like, why not? When you're being compared to this billion-dollar app, like it's doing great. So for sure. I wouldn't say we're exactly like that in terms of how we create the content, because again, we're trying new ways. We're trying to cater to how people want to learn today. We are targeting younger people as well, more like 18 to 30, 18 to 40-year-olds. Doing a lot of survey research on what our current users do like and how they want to learn. So of course there are a lot of differences, and we're teaching two completely different subjects. So there are going to be it's not going to clash so much, but we definitely use Duolingo as a base to just, we love their marketing as well. Like it's just amazing the way they have this little mascot, and their push notifications are great. I don't know if you've ever used the app, but we've kind of followed that because we love the push notifications. It's a great way to get people coming back to the app every few hours and reminding them that, okay, there's this leaderboard you can compete in, or there's this new class up there. And just the language they use is really nice as well. So for sure, I love Duolingo. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, yeah, no, same. I've used it when I was in Paris last month. I don't know how much French I actually used, but it was nonetheless a fun app. I guess like another similarity between Duolingo and Yzer is the like focus on community and like with the leaderboards and stuff like that. And I'm sure that that's been a core part of, I guess, marketing for Yzer is word of mouth, people telling other people,
Yeah.
posting on social media. Is that kind of the core marketing aspect for Yzer, or are there other avenues as well?
Yeah. So again, the bigger mission for Yzer is to orange pill the world, right? And with orange pilling, we need viral campaigns. We need people to refer their friends, their community, their family, all of that. So we've seen we've seen this become like a viral campaign, and we've seen it work really well on Twitter as well. We are currently not doing paid ads. It's just something we decided that, okay, we're bootstrapped. We do have to see where we're budgeting and where we're using the money, but we've just decided to grow on Twitter. We're posting a lot of valuable content there, me and the co-founders. So it's so nice to see a viral effect that's coming up organically, right? So there's people who are comparing us to UC Berkeley courses, and we're not asking people to do this. We're not paying users to write certain things on social media to just make Yzer look good, right? This is really coming from people's own hearts and people's own learning and people just really loving Yzer. So I think this whole way of how it's going viral and how people are orange pilling other people is so nice, the way it's been going for the past 2 months. And because again, I've said, like, we've done a few podcasts, we've done a few articles, marketing here and there, but everything we've done so far is free. So it's really the community who's helping us market. I mean, we're doing what we can, but at the end of the day, it's them, right? We've got people who want to be our ambassadors in Venezuela, Nigeria, and Philippines, and Latin America. I mean, this is what happens when it's an online social app. Like, we are physically not present in these places. So whoever's representing us really loves the app. And I think we've gotten in touch with so many people who are in Bitcoin education, but they're just kind of doing weekly talks or monthly talks, or they have a community or group of people. So they love Yzer so much that they just bring it up there. They just talk about Yzer there. So sometimes we'll see like huge user growth in one day, and we're like, okay, where did this come from? And it's just one guy talking about Yzer at this community talk that he did locally. So I think it's so nice to see that you've actually built a nice product and you don't need to spend um, like thousands of dollars behind marketing, because it's just growing so nicely organically. And that's the aim. That's the aim. That's what we want to keep doing for the next few years, to just get the people to really love the content and app, that they push it themselves without us having to pay people. And I mean, of course, that you can do your ads and your marketing to reach corners of the world, but I think it's still that organic effect that's going to make the biggest difference, because you're really hearing it from another user, and hearing them say that, okay, it's a 5-star app and it's great content, and we love it.
Yeah, you're right. Organic kind of pretty much beats anything, but it's more true in the Bitcoin community. And that's something that I have found personally, like with my own Bitcoin businesses. Like, I wish I knew that starting, because initially I was spending like money on paid ads and stuff like that. But the conversion from just organic word of mouth was like tenfold what it was when it was paid ads. And I guess it's like this mentality in the Bitcoin community of like, don't trust, verify. I guess if you see an ad Um, it's not someone else like verifying it or someone else's opinion, but when it comes from someone on Twitter that you're following and you have been following for a while and you kind of like trust what they say, when they say they've been using Yzer and it's a great app, you kind of have that like verification. So I think it is honestly the most powerful form of marketing especially in the Bitcoin community. It's crazy how far
Yeah,
Bitcoiners.
I love that you said that, don't trust, verify, because it's actually so applicable for the marketing that we do as well. That's true. You either pay for the ads or you just get like people to talk about it for free. So it's great for sure.
Yeah, and if you're giving people free sats, they have something to talk about. And everyone wants free sats, which is good. Now there are a couple of other Bitcoin education apps and sites out there. Um, what would you say is the difference between Wiser and some of these other kind of platforms from like the Bitcoin education perspective?
Yeah. So I'd say we'd have like 4 or 5 main competitors in the space. Now, we offer whatever we offer, these 10 to 12 features is something that no other app offers completely, right? So you'll have like maybe one competitor offering a structured curriculum and then another app or another company offering the gamification part, but none of these apps have everything in it together. I think we really have the whole package, right? Like I think today a Binance Academy or just learning off Coinbase, these are the biggest companies in the space right now, and you can learn. They have like this whole blog section, this whole education section, but it's not. Again, these are just separate articles. It's not a structured curriculum, and this is what we see with most of the stuff on desktop and online. That they can't offer the whole gamification, rewards, and structured curriculum. Now, there are a few apps that do that as well, but what we've seen is that either the content is not globally based, so they're really focusing on just like the US markets, or financial literacy in the US. They're helping you with like how taxes are done there or how to invest in the stock market, but we're really focusing on the whole global aspect, and that's why we found it crucial to be available to download on iOS, Android, and just any country in the world, wherever you're from. And it's great because, yeah, we have a lot of users from the US, but most of our users are coming from around the world. We have users from India, we have users from Nigeria, we have users from um, Asia and Africa is our biggest market, actually. So I think that is the main part, that we're really going for that global targeted audience. And most apps don't do that. They're really trying to focus on specific countries. Again, the whole gamification part, I think that's really new, and the whole bite-sized learning part as well. Because you have the whole way of learning from Coursera or Udacity, where you're again watching like 10-minute videos or you're reading through articles and you're learning. But we don't think this is the way people want to learn today. So we've really differentiated ourselves by offering these 2 to 3 minute classes, um, super simplified English, and then just having a quiz at the end so you can earn rewards. That's really what differentiates us from the other competitors.
Yeah, it's definitely clear to see the difference. Like it's pretty night and day when you jump on the app as well. Like it's really clean, it's done well, it's responsive. So yeah, no, that's obviously kudos to the team. A lot of work obviously went into that in the background, which is really great. For people who um, might know a little bit about Bitcoin. Maybe they kind of know the basics and they're like a mid-level. Are there more advanced levels that people can jump to, or is it you have to start from the beginning, do the intro stuff before you get to any advanced sections?
So it's actually nice that you bring it up, because I think 90% of the users that we have on the app right now have either heard about Bitcoin or know a little bit about Bitcoin. So they are knowledgeable, even if it's just 10%, right? We haven't really gotten the people who've never heard about Bitcoin on our app yet, because I think that's actually a challenge, and that's a difficult thing to do. But yeah, for people who are like semi-knowledge in the section, they always think they know more than they do, because they'll be like, okay, but like I've spoken to a lot of people in the community, and they've said that I don't know if I need to use this app because I know everything there is to know about Bitcoin. But then they use the app and they're like, okay, there's a lot more that now I know, and I thought I knew everything. So we really cover the all the nuances and the A to Z. And then you have the Byte section, which is the most advanced section, right? That's when you really start actually having live Bitcoin discussions. You start relating it to what's going on in the news. This week, we're actually doing a talk with the technical developer. So he'll actually be talking about how to run your own node.
Yeah.
So that's stuff that we don't talk about in the basic layer yet, because it is pretty advanced stuff, and it's not stuff that you can just fit into a bite-sized class. It's something that you want to be able to talk about and have a discussion about and ask questions about. So we do have it in the roadmap to actually offer personalization. So at the beginning, you'll be able to take like a short quiz or questions and answers where we'll find out what their level is and how and what their career goals are as well, right? Like, are you on this app because you want to get a job in Bitcoin, or you want to just invest your money, or you just want to know what's happening in the Bitcoin world? So accordingly to what they answer, they'll be able to skip certain sections and go right to the part that they want to learn. But right now, because we're just trying to get the whole app out there and just have all these classes for everyone, it's not there yet. But there's just so much that we have in development that's going to be coming in the next few months. And again, these things just take time, and it's a lot of effort, money, and time going into the app. So it's all there in the plan, but it's going to take some time to implement. But yeah, I think right now when you go into the app, you can choose the module, but once you choose the module, you have to complete all the chapters to complete that module completely. Eventually, this is going to change, where people will just be able to have a more custom or tailored curriculum to what they want to learn and where their knowledge is on Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's great. And the fact that you guys are only 2 months in, I think that the app already offers like a significant amount. So it's exciting to kind of hear about the things that are coming in the future and what's kind of planned in the roadmap. How do you see Yzer evolving in the future? Let's say in the next 12 months, what does the Yzer app look like?
Oh yeah, so we are so excited. We have so much in the plans. I'd say for the next 12 months, we definitely want to release it in 3 or 4 more languages. Because we're getting so many eyeballs on the app, but they're like, look, if I want more people, if I want to recommend more people onto this app, we need French, we need Spanish. Because the English is simplified, but at the end of the day, we're targeting a worldwide audience, right? So it's important to get these languages on there as well. Like you said, we're going to offer the personalization. That's key as well, just to kind of figure out more on the users, what they want to learn, why they want to learn, what their future goals are. So we're going to work a lot on that part as well. Then there's the whole development aspect where we just want to include more gamification. I think that's always fun, and there's so much you can do over there. Again, that requires a lot of development. So we'll see how much we can do in the next 12 months. But I think if you also go beyond that, we have so many ideas in terms of like businesses, right? So we see education as the pillar to other businesses. So many other Bitcoin companies have reached out to us. Like, for example, if they're a wallet or any kind of infrastructure, they come up to us and they're like, look, we have this product, but we don't have enough daily active users. And the reason that is because there's a lack of education. Like, you can create all the hype around your product, get people to sign up, but the only way they're going to stay is if they actually understand what your product does. So our goal is to definitely partner up with these companies and help them with onboarding their users into by educating them. But this also allows us to open up into new businesses, right? Eventually, we can create our own wallet. We can be like another Swan or another Relay or any of these businesses. I think there's so many ways you can go with this, but Bitcoin's also such like a fast evolving business or technology that there's so many ways you can go. So I think for the next 6 to 12 months, this is what we have, but we're really open to seeing wherever this goes. And I think it's also so important to just listen to your users and see what they want. So once we get more user data and we've collected that and we've really understood that, okay, is it a wallet that they want? Do they want to be able to withdraw their sats more easily? Then we'll create that inbuilt wallet as well. So yeah, beyond the 12 months, there's so much you can do, because people keep asking us, there's only so much content you can create on Bitcoin, but no, there isn't. And because we're financial literacy app, there's a lot you can create. Like we're pushing 6 classes a day and we have so much to say, we never stop. So there's the whole education aspect, but then there's the whole business side of it as well, where we feel like we can do so much more than education.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's super
Yeah.
exciting. I love the idea of a wallet as well. That obviously would work so well with the app. What advice would you have for people who are new to Bitcoin and considering using the Yzer app to learn about Bitcoin?
Yeah. So I would say that firstly, if you're new and you've never heard about Bitcoin, it always sounds like gibberish. And it never sounds like Bitcoin is really an empowerment tool, right? Like I said, it's more than just a technology. So I think we really need to make people understand that it's not just blockchain, it's not just like hash rates, it's not just consensus mechanism, proof of work. It's so much more than that, right? It's solving the monetary issues that we're facing today. It's the complete opposite of inflation. There's no money printing because there's a fixed supply. So I think the I said, like, we have these intro classes on the app where we're kind of before you even get into the deeper nuances of coin. And we need people to understand why Bitcoin is needed and why our current government or monetary system is so flawed. Like, if you speak to someone from the US, they'll say, but I don't need Bitcoin. I live in this first world country. We have the most powerful currency. But you don't realize that, inflation's going up at a higher rate than your wages are. So you are actually not saving anything for the next 20 years. How much money are you really saving? Your the value of your savings is going down. The value of the US dollar has gone down 96% since the 1990s. But I think this is just education is so key because nobody knows this. Like, we've spoken to VCs in the US, or we've spoken to people in the US, and they have no idea that there's an issue with, or there's problems with the monetary system. They think that all these issues just happen in like third world countries or developing countries. And yes, we're getting a lot of users from there because they understand that their governments are corrupt and their bank accounts can be frozen overnight, and hyperinflation exists. But it's actually the US and Europe that are facing the most issues right now. And I think these are the people that really need to be educated. And once they understand that their currency is being debased, that funds are being used for war when they don't need to be used for war, that where's all this tax money going, once they understand all of that, that's the first step to understanding why Bitcoin is needed, because Bitcoin actually solves all these problems. So every time someone, I mean, that's what happened to me, right? When I got orange pill first and I wanted to, I like, it was all gibberish to me when my partner started explaining it to me, and it took me a year to be like, okay, I don't care about Bitcoin, it makes no sense to me. But when I started understanding that, okay, there's money printing, this is what COVID did, these are all the issues, the stocks crashed, my portfolio went like all the way down like 60-70%, that's when you realize, okay, there is this problem and it does need to be solved. So when you actually understand that all these problems exist is when you'll know that something needs to be done about it, and Bitcoin's actually a solution that solves all of these issues. So before actually just introducing Bitcoin and talking about it, you need to understand like the economics of just global systems, governments, corruption, all of this. That's what I would really like to teach people. And that's how I think getting women onto the app is really important as well, because women in general as a group don't like the technical aspects of Bitcoin. It's not what interests them. It's really the human rights part of it. It's really the social issues that are happening that attracts them to to actually understanding Bitcoin. And I did a talk with women in tech, and this is what I found out as well, that they were like, okay, wow, Bitcoin is so interesting, but all I've ever heard is, I've heard it from my husband or my son, and it's just all the technical aspects that make no sense to me. So I think you really need to understand the fundamentals and the underlying issues before you can understand why Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And then the really amazing thing about Bitcoin is how diverse it is in the solutions that it fixes. Like you were saying before, like if you're from the US or if you're from, I don't know, the UK, India, like it doesn't, El Salvador, it doesn't matter where you're from or what your situation is, like Bitcoin always has a solution like for your specific need, which is something that's really unique to it as well. And obviously is the reason that it is number one and always has been the number one digital currency. You mentioned it before briefly, and this is a question we always ask, but could you tell us what your orange pill story is? What was your orange pilled moment?
Oh yeah, for sure. Uh, so my partner, he's actually one of the co-founders at Yzer as well. He's been in Bitcoin since 2014, 2015. So he was quite early into the space. Um, Always researching, always very into it. And then I think post COVID, he tried to explain it to me, and I was just not interested. I was like, this makes no sense to me. Again, I think this comes from a space when a man is trying to explain a woman what Bitcoin is. It doesn't always work. So he tried forcing it on me. He's like, you need to learn it. It's just amazing. It's just such a great tool. But he never touched on the social parts of it and the humanitarian parts of it. Like I said, I think that's what really touched me. So I gave it a shot. Like it took me a year. I was like, okay, let me just do my own research. Let me try to figure it out myself. And I started reading all these stories online and this whole other side of Bitcoin that he never told me about. And I was like, okay, this actually does make a lot of sense. And I didn't know any of the technicals of Bitcoin then. I didn't know this whole proof of work. I didn't know what's included in a block. I didn't know and any of that. Everything that we teach on our app today, that's not what interested me. It wasn't the tech part of it. It was really the humanitarian part of it. And then when I started reading about this, I told him, okay, I think this makes sense to me, and I see why it's such an important money to have, and why it's the money of the future. And then he kind of started teaching me about it in his own ways. We used to do like these, whiteboard classes at home, and he would just show me that this is what it is, and this. Then it just started making sense because then I was interested. I was like, okay, I want to learn the A to Z now. So I wouldn't say that I got orange pilled immediately. It took me a year, but that aha moment was definitely just figuring out why it really matters to humans, and those 4 or 5 billion people living under authoritarian regimes and how it can affect them. I think that's what really touched me. Also, like originally coming from India and having such a big corruption problem there, money problem, the politics are terrible. I mean, your bank accounts can be frozen overnight based on your caste, religion, or gender. So money is really an issue there. And when I really started getting that thing that okay, it comes from home, I think that's what made me realize, okay, this is something that's needed in the world, and it can really solve a lot of the issues that we have right now.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I love that like one of your biggest motivations is the human kind of experience aspect of Bitcoin, because it is something that is overlooked a lot. And you're right. I guess like the men in Bitcoin are very much interested in the things part of Bitcoin, how it works and everything else. That's kind of how our brain works. But on the other side of that, the human experience side is equally as important. I'm seeing it kind of pop up a lot more lately, which is really cool. And there's a lot of other different types of people and business Bitcoin businesses that are focusing on this aspect. So it's really awesome to see that you guys are also focusing on that too, and it's a priority. For someone who is a co-founder of a Bitcoin education app, I'm assuming you love to keep informed and educated with all things Bitcoin. So, what would you say are your favorite books or just book that is Bitcoin related that you've read recently?
So definitely my all-time favorite book is an author is Saifuddin. The Bitcoin Standard is great. I think for someone new and someone who really wants to understand, just read that book. He's released 3 books now, but he just explains things so nicely, right? It's the history of money, and it's uh, how money has evolved in the past 100 years. So I think it's understanding the whole background before knowing why Bitcoin. So he's definitely great, and Austrian economics, that's something that I've never even heard of before, and I've completely learned from his books. Um, Definitely, if you can go to meetups and you can go for conferences and things, I think Bitcoin Miami was super friendly because we saw like babies and kids there as well. So even if you just go for some of these talks, and there might just be this one aha moment, or like this thing that you hear that can completely orange pill you, just go for it. There's always local meetups happening in even the smallest cities in the world. I mean, I live in Antwerp and we have Bitcoin meetups every week. So I'm sure it's happening locally as well. I would say attend these and just, yeah, just try to be a little open-minded and just try to read that one article on why Bitcoin matters. There's a lot of the stuff online as well. And I think if you can go through a 10-15 minute article and then you'll just want to be rabbit hole. You'll just want to go deeper down. You'll just want to know everything about Bitcoin. There's no turning back after that, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely how it goes. Always like not interested at the start, and then there's like that one thing that piques your interest, and then you just start falling, and you kind of never stop falling. It's like a endless hole, isn't it? You just keep going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Um,
and then you want everyone in the world to learn about it, which is the nice thing about it. So
that's the fun part of it, is like the desire to share it with other people and orange pill like your friends and family. I think that's something
yeah.
that's like really unique and special to Bitcoin, which is why the community is so awesome, and why apps like Yzer are so good as well, because they achieve this. Um, yeah, no, it's really great. Sanjana, thank you so much for jumping on a call with me. It was really awesome chatting to you about yourself, what you're doing, and the Wiser app. Do you have any last comments? Also, tell people where can they find you personally on social media, and also the Wiser app.
Yeah, for sure. So you can download the Yzer app on both Android, iOS. Just type in YZER. We're on the socials. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter. You can actually connect with me. I'm Sanjna. Sanjna underscore connect on Twitter. I love to talk to anyone who drops in a DM. I'm very responsive. I love to connect with anyone who's in the Bitcoin space. You can join our Telegram community. We're all super friendly. We talk on it like 24/7. If you really want to get into it, pledge and you'll be able to attend these live Bitcoin classes as well. Um, but yeah, I think just give Bitcoin a chance and definitely just, you know, I'll maybe I'll send you this article and you can post it on a YouTube video as well. But it's just it's a 10-minute article and it'll just get you hooked on and it'll just make you realize why Bitcoin is so important.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll put that link in the description of this, and also all your socials and Wise's links as well.
Sure.
Sanjana, thank you so much. It was a pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye.